Hi everyone, welcome back to an all new episode of Real Women, Real Stories. This is Sonu and I have my co host Mansi. So, we are representing Galboss In today. Galboss In is a volunteer led initiative which is focused on sparking meaningful conversation amongst young women about career and life. And today we have with us Suparna, who also happens to be one of our core volunteers at Galboss. We welcome you, Suparna. Thank you so much for joining us. Could you please give a
Thank you for
brief,
having me.
yeah, could you please give a brief introduction about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Hey everyone, my name is Suparna. I'm from Pune originally, but I've been staying in Bangalore now for the last 6 odd years. I'm an engineer by training. I've done a bunch of other things besides engineering, though, in my career, which is spanning 10 years now almost. So I've worked mostly in a lot of startups. So I worked in a food tech startup called Fresh Menu, which a lot of people in Bangalore may know about. So I was one of the early employees to join there. And ever since then, I kind of moved to the social impact space. So I've worked in about 3 or 4 different social enterprises since then, in again different sectors. So I worked in dairy farming, I've worked in health, I've worked in e-commerce. And so right now, I work in an organization called Nura Health, which provides training to family members in government hospitals. So the idea is to help patients, family members take care of them after they go back home. And to be able to do that, you need to train them on good hygiene practices, on how wound care, all of like these essentials which a lot of times we don't really know about, which can increase complications quite significantly. So we basically conduct training programs for family members so they are better equipped to take care of their patients after they go back home. So it's an organization based in Bangalore, but we have operations all over the country. So yeah, that's where I work. And apart from that, I have 2 dogs at home. I write. That's kind of why I volunteer with Galbotson, because apart from the really believing in the mission, it's also an incredible way to exercise my writing skills also a little bit more. So yeah, that's about me.
We are really glad to have you here, Suparna. Um, so
I'm glad
getting
to be here.
Yes. So getting started with the conversation. So Suparna, we would like to know more about, one of one incident that you have been through in your life, which has been like a turning point. And how did you evolve through that situation? How did you manifest resilience when when you were undergoing something that was really life changing for you?
Hmm. That's a pretty loaded question. But yeah, I was thinking about it and I was like, what is it like I remember as, some of the key life-changing events of my life and stuff. And I think one of the earliest memories which kind of came to me, and I thought that I should probably share that here because it might be useful for a lot of, people who read us and follow us on social media. So I think one of the earliest life-changing events for me was my first breakup. Which is, I was about 19 or 20 years old at that time. And it can seem very frivolous that I'm talking about, like, my breakup as being like a life changing event and stuff. But I'll come to that. I'll come to why I think it was a very life changing event at that point. So when you're in your late teens, early 20s and stuff, I think like a lot of, teenagers, you struggle a lot with self-confidence issues. And it was the same thing with me. I was not like a very self-confident person at that point of time. I was also a little bit overweight and I had like curly hair. So all through school, like people would tease me and call me like, Chidiya ka ghosla and all of that. And I think at that age in your life, those kind of things affect you, right? So you end up being not very comfortable in your own skin. Right, so that's kind of what happens. So when somebody at that point of time agreed to like go out with me, it was as if like my whole life had changed. I thought, oh my god, like I have arrived, and it was that kind of a moment. So what happened as a result of that is I basically ended up giving myself completely to this relationship and to this person. So that meant I deprioritized my studies. So I was a very good student. I used to participate in a lot of but I kind of deprioritized all of not having my own sense of like self identity. right? So I think that part of it was what was very difficult for me to deal with. It pretty much took a lot of persistence, and it took a lot of just working on rebuilding myself to kind of come out of that. But I think what stayed with me is that feeling of what it feels like to have lost your self identity. Like, what does that feeling uh, look like, and what does that feel like in, for yourself? So ever since then, I have slipped up multiple times as well. There are obviously, like, nobody's perfect, and you don't like suddenly turn over a new leaf. So I have had moments of slip up, but I think I was able to catch myself a lot faster, where I was like, oh, I'm, giving too much importance to this job, or I'm giving too much importance to this person, or any of that. And, where is my sense of self in this? So I was able to kind of come back to that a lot quicker. So I think that's kind of the reason why I say that it was a life-changing moment, because I think for all of us, it's very important that we retain that sense of self-identity. And that's true of, like, not just like a partner or a romantic relationship, but it's true of your job, it's true of any other hobby you may have, it's true of college, it's true of if you have children, then with children. So I think that's kind of an important thing that you need to remember, that, where am I in all of this, and how am I kind of making sure that I keep that at the core. Like, everything else will happen, but you should never lose your sense of self. So I think that's kind of why I say it was life-changing moment for me. And coming out of that was pretty much, a step-by-step thing. I had to go and apologize to my friends. I had to tell them that, look, I'm really sorry. This, like, pretty much confide in them that this is kind of what happened. I did not believe that anyone would want to date me. And so it was a pretty shocking thing for me. And I'm sorry about that. And to my friends' credit, they were very nice about it, and they obviously understood, and they remain friends to this date. But a lot of it was kind of, getting their support. And I think they helped me get out of a lot of it, so that I was able to kind of cope. So yeah, that's my life-changing moment.
It's quite interesting that you mentioned that you had body image issues when you were in your late teens. I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of girls go through that when they're
Yeah,
teenagers.
yeah.
So what was that like to kind of figure out that these are not the things that define you? Because when you're young, you kind of keep focusing on the fact that, hey, I don't, this part of me doesn't look good, or this part of me is
Yeah.
not good. But what is that process of realization where you're like, these are not the things that define me?
Hmm. I feel like that is honestly, Mansi, a lifelong struggle that, you kind of have to accept that there are going to be phases in life when you are not going to feel as good about yourself. But I think over the years, what I have learned is to select a few things that I know that I'm very good at. And that only takes a lot of practice, and it takes many, many years to kind of figure out. But the only way that you can kind of come back to that sense of self and that sense of accomplishment is to understand what are those 2 or 3 things that I know that I'm really good at, that kind of can help me get that confidence back. That's honestly, I think, the only way that I have found it helpful to, forget about something else that's controlling my identity, and kind of focus on, okay, what is it that I bring to the table? Like, I'll give you an example. Even through the lockdown, like, obviously, all of us have put on weight because none of us are going to work, and, that day-to-day hustle is not there. And just like a couple of weeks back, I was like looking at myself in the mirror because I had to finally go out. And I was like, shit, what clothes do I wear? Like, I don't have anything that fits me, which I used to wear like 7 months ago. So even that day, like, I remember it was a sense of like, oh God, look at me. And I was beating myself up the entire day. And I was like, I should have worked out. I should have been disciplined about what I was eating. So the point is, like, you'll never, I think, reach a stage where you're completely secure. It's like a lifelong back and forth. But again, you kind of come back to, okay, what is it that I'm good at? What are some of the things that I am able to do really well? And you use those as ways to give yourself back some of that confidence. Like, when I work with Galbos, when I write, when there's appreciation for articles, that makes me feel good. I'm like, oh, I actually helped in this, So that's, those are, I think, small things which are very deliberate efforts that you have to make. So that's pretty much, like, there's no smart answer around it. That's kind of what the reality is.
Uh, that's that's good. I mean, that's good to know. I mean, of course, as you have experienced. But one thing, I mean, when you were mentioning about the relationship, one thing that really, stuck me is you said that somebody agreed to date you. I mean, I mean, there are a lot. I mean, I remember going through similar situation and
Yeah,
similar having
yeah,
similar mindset when I was a teen. You know, that first relationship thing. And
yeah.
you know, do you have any tip around for young girls to, you know, how to not, you know, come under any pressure kind of a thing
Hmm.
to get on that first date, to be, you know, what is that something that one should keep in mind and not
Hmm.
just you know, be very hard on them, on their own selves, while choosing somebody for the first date
Yeah.
or the first romantic relationship? What do you think?
I think, I think there's unfortunately two things which are not taught to us when we are young. And one of them is just self awareness. So, taking time to reflect and understand a little bit more about yourself and who you are as a person, and what makes you feel good and what doesn't make you feel good, and what your drivers are, and all of that. So that's one. And I think two is, society today is still not comfortable with girls just, or even like I would say students, or girls and boys both just dating for the sake of exploration, like not taking it as, like, I feel like a lot of the importance that we attach to relationships is because there's so much pressure on this being like, the one like accomplishment or the thing that you need to reach when you are like in your late teens or something, and if you haven't done that, then you are lesser than someone else. But I think if you just take out that entire pressure around it by making it seem like, like just another thing that you are trying out in that phase, or just another thing that is part of your life, then I think that entire pressure on it goes away, right? So there's this whole like, even it's a similar concept like with marks, like you have to achieve really good marks, and a lot of people feel that, oh, if I don't get like 95 or 97% in my 10th and 12th boards, like my whole life is gone and all of that. But that's not true. Like, anyone who has been even 5 years since graduating from 12th standard knows that nothing changed much in their life, and yeah, few things here and there, but it wasn't like the end of the world. So I feel like a lot of that is, those are probably two things. That one is just encouraging a lot of people to be a lot more self-aware and self-confident, and the second part of it is just this entire, and like just comparing yourself to someone else. Like, think about it, right? Why is it that you feel that you are lesser than someone? Is because they have a boyfriend and you don't. It's not necessarily always because you don't have a boyfriend. It's like, me uske paas hai but mujhe bhi chahiye. So you kind of have to learn to separate that out sometime, and think of yourself as an individual, and the world will keep happening and things will keep changing, but then it's eventually who you are becoming and how, what kind of person that you are growing to be. And that can only happen if you try to build a habit of reflection and like self-awareness and stuff, like from a young age. So that's kind of
I
what
remember
my
I
answer would
remember
be.
there were like two real things which used to happen during relationships. I mean, when I mean during our teens. So as you mentioned, first was peer pressure. So because everybody around has a boyfriend, I need to experience
Exactly,
what it is like. So first is that
exactly.
peer pressure, and the second thing is nobody really knows what they want. They are just in a rush, in a hurry to just experience
Yeah,
everything. And this
yeah,
happens with career also, we have seen in life, like, because my friend
absolutely.
is doing so well, why am I not doing so well?
Exactly, exactly.
It's
Like
always
this entire checklist that you have, ki, no, I have to like check all of these boxes. And nowadays it's like I have to check these boxes by this age. Like, especially I think this 30 under 30 and 20 under 20 and all of those kind of awards and accomplishments and accolades have just ended up putting so much unnecessary pressure. And so one of the things which I try to do a lot, which my therapist actually had told me at one point of time, is when you say that this needs to be this way or this should happen, ask yourself why. Like, constantly force yourself to ask the question why. And that's kind of when you kind of come down to the root cause of what are those, certain ideas and certain things the world has not told you, which is just something that you are holding yourself to a particular standard. And you'll understand what what is it that your mind is thinking, and you'll kind of understand what are some of those hidden biases and contradictions and stuff that your own brain is kind of trying to tell you. And the moment you come down to the asking why constantly, you finally come to realize that, oh, like that's stupid, like why am I thinking that way, so it's a very powerful thing. But just every time you think of this should be this way, just pausing and being like, why? Like, why am I saying that? Like, what is going on in my head which is making me think that this should be this way? And with that, you are able to actually, I think, break down a lot of those misconceptions and just silly ideas that you have in your mind, which honestly have no basis whatsoever. It's just like one of those, like you were saying, you look at society, you look at social media and stuff, and you just are like, oh, okay, that's how it should be. But no, that's not how it should be. So yeah, that helps.
So something a little bit personal. So what you said about having curly hair and being a little overweight, I'm a little overweight. You can't tell right now, but I have really curly hair, and I can
Yeah.
relate max to the fact that
Yes.
everybody
Yes.
makes fun of your curly hair, including my mother, who's like, comb your hair, it looks like a nest, comb your hair. And I was like, I
I
have
know.
combed it.
I
And
know.
it is,
But
and
you know what?
like,
You're not supposed to comb curly hair, Mansi. That's what I've
yeah,
learned. That's
kind of.
bad for you.
Well, you comb it when you have conditioner on is what like I
Yes.
learned
Yes.
recently.
Yes.
Yeah, and like, okay, so like last night actually I had a really big fight with my boyfriend, and I like
Mm.
we were at the verge of breaking up, and I found myself thinking that there's something wrong with my body that he doesn't like. And then I kind of came back to it, and I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you and your
Yeah.
body, like it's
Yeah.
fine. It's just you have to sort out what the actual issue is. So like, yeah,
Exactly.
I could like when you said that right now, it like hit home. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it was. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably it cascades from the media that even the definition of what a model is kind of like
Yeah.
wrong. It's like
Yeah.
you have to be skinny to
Yeah.
be a model is like that's wrong, and
Exactly.
then it kind of subconsciously affects you and you don't
Yeah.
realize that it's happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is like
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm glad
And
that at least today I feel like there are people like with curly hair in the media, for example. Like I know when Mithila Palkar was like the
yeah,
rage and everything was about her hair, and I was like that's what I've had for like my whole life, and everyone hated it, and now suddenly she's like this sensation because of her hair. So yeah,
yeah,
it's a lot of it is media, a lot of it is what you see around you, and how that you just internalize so much of that as that's kind of how the world should be. But
yeah.
yeah, it's not black and white, right? There are all different kinds of shades of gray. So yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just felt like sharing it because like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
hit
yeah,
home.
And
totally,
I
totally.
will also say, I mean, I'll also add something here. So I've also been, overweight throughout my life. I recently lost weight. So I've always been very conscious of my weight. Nobody will like
Yeah,
me because
yeah,
I'm overweight. But gradually I realized that somebody who is falling for you only because of how you look is going to be
yeah,
a very superficial relationship. And I
yeah,
don't know
yeah.
how much depth is there in that relationship if it is only because of
Exactly,
so
exactly.
I realized that, and I realized it very late. I mean, even after not even after my teens, I think I realized it 3-4 years back. So
Yeah, and I feel like that's one of the other things, right? We expect, like, eventually in your teenage years or in your early 20s, I think everyone is going to make those mistakes. Like, it's probably wrong to set those assumptions or those expectations from young girls today that, oh, you learn from my mistakes, and I'm telling you this, so now you don't think that way. I don't think that's possible. So that's why I kind of keep saying that eventually we have to go through these struggles ourselves, and we have to figure out like what works for it ourselves. But it would be like, I'll tell Mansi 100 different things, but tomorrow she is going to look at her hair and be like, oh god, what is this curly hair? It's like horrible. And like there's nothing that I can say. Like maybe some of it will resonate, but then eventually that struggle is something that she has to go through on her own and kind of come out of it. And maybe people like us, when we share our stories because we are a little bit older, it will resonate. But then it's still like you have to acknowledge that those struggles are going to happen, and that's just like every person's journey eventually. So I think it's fine. It's okay to go through that, and it's natural, and it's kind of important that everyone goes through that little bit of yeah, ups and downs and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good.
So
I think that's it.
you don't want to ask the
Okay.
life-changing tip.
Okay. Okay.
Oh.
Basically, okay, I'll ask. So, what is one life-changing tip that you would like to give to young women?
Hmm. I feel like a lot of what I've shared is also has been life changing for me at least. But yes, I think one of the things which doesn't get spoken about enough is the power of incremental change. Like I feel like a lot of us are again raised because of media and because of you know New Year and birthdays, and we'll turn over a new leaf on the first of the month, and we'll turn over a new leaf on the 15th of the month, and we're kind of raised to believe that bus motivation chahiye, and once you're motivated and it's like the right date on the calendar, that from tomorrow onwards you're going to be like this new person. And I think I struggled with that for a very, very long time in my life. Like Sonu, you were saying you realized with body image and self confidence and stuff only 3-4 years back. I think for me the realization of not focusing on goals and not focusing on these motivation and like life changing days versus just incremental changes which are done on a daily basis, and the power of good habits versus goals. So there's a very important distinction between them. Like, are you trying to inculcate good habits in yourself on a day-to-day basis, or are you looking at a certain goal ki, oh, I need to weigh 55 kgs, or I need to save X amount of money in my bank account on a monthly basis, or I need to not order from Swiggy 5 times of the week. Like, these are all goals that you are setting for yourself versus incremental habits of, okay, by next month I'm going to try and lose half a kilogram, or by next month I'm going to get into a habit of eating a home cooked meal 7 times out of whatever 14 times in a day, or I'm going to get into the habit of saving 5% of my salary that goes into my bank account, like on the first of the month when I get my salary. Like, those are incremental changes which are a lot easier for you to, I think, incorporate in your life. And as you continue to do those incremental changes daily, it eventually leads to like lifelong changes, and it leads to lifelong habits which end up being a lot more sustainable. And I think for me, the reason I say that was life changing is because for a very long time, I would chase the goal. So I would chase that end thing that I want to see. And, there'd be this whole thing of, why do I not feel motivated enough? Why do I not feel, disciplined enough to do this? But these are very hard things to do, like, to switch overnight. So what you instead should focus on is, I think, small changes, but repetitively, like done consistently. So I think I think consistency is a lot more important than motivation, and things that happen incrementally over a long period of time. Like, we were taught in school about compound interest, and I think none of us realized that compound interest actually plays out in everything in our life. So, while we don't remember the formula, and like that was like, this dreaded thing that we had to do at that point, I think the reality of it is compounding really works. And, it works in like the smallest of things. So I've really myself tried to change from a goal oriented behavior to a more habit oriented and incremental change oriented behavior. So that's kind of why I say it was life changing. I think the earlier girls realize that and kind of try to incorporate that in different aspects of their life, it'll just be a lot more beneficial, and you'll just take that pressure away from turning over a new leaf on your birthday. Like, no, that's probably not going to happen, but you can do a 5% change. Like, that's possible. So that's what my life changing tip would be.
I think that's very important to know, because nowadays everybody thinks that there's this whole culture of productivity that goes on around the internet, that you have to work hard every single day for these many hours. And I've seen myself falling into that loop as well. And then my dad told me the same thing: don't focus on focus on what you have to do now. So he told me the same thing: build habits and not goals.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's one of those things where I think you go through the struggles, and you because again in media they talk about goals and they talk about the hustle, and you have to be working 16 hours of the day and stuff, and you're like, no, that's not practical. Like, I mean, you may do that for some time because you obviously have a certain project or something, but no one does that all the time. And it's just not, practical to be able to do that. So yeah, again, focusing on good habits, which compound over a long period of time, and believing that that will happen, because it does happen. If you put in the discipline and the consistency, it does happen. But it's again a huge mindset shift, and it takes a lot of time to get there.
I think that's some good advice for me as well. I need to incorporate that. Yeah. So looking at the big picture all the time and not looking at what is going to happen, what I can do to, what I have the power to do,
Yeah.
in the short term.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
We
Exactly.
miss, a lot of good time that we have with us right now.
Yep. Yep. Very true.
Yeah, I think it was some great advice, and it was a lovely conversation, Suparna. Thank you so much for joining us,
Oh, I'm glad.
and and sharing some good, words of wisdom, if I can say, with us.
No worries. No worries. I'm not very wisdomous. If anybody has seen Friends, then they'll know. I'm not very wisdomous, but this is kind of what. But yeah, I think it was lovely chatting with you guys. So I'm glad I got a chance to share my stories.